Hey y'all, welcome once again to Monday Night Inking. I'm going to put some time into this D&D commission. This is a little bit of a weird tempo for me today because I've already been inking all day, as it turns out. I've been working on that Blade Runner piece that we will, or rather that I'll show you guys a bit later when we have some more viewers because I'm very proud of it so far. All right. My favorite type of commission so far has been D&D commissions because they're fairly simple. They're usually just one stand-up character, but also just so fun, fanciful. All right, we got some people piling in. Welcome, everybody. Is this now going to be black? So this commission includes screen toning, digital screen tones. So there are some things about the pattern and the fur that I will just save for screen toning, but that's fine. I admit I did mirror this nose digitally. A purely forward-facing nose, or animal nose like this, can be difficult to get correct, and I usually just wait till the blue line and copy one of the sides and flip it over like a butterfly's wings, There's that. I like to rim light the nose a little bit so that you don't lose it. Let's get the mouth here. These shapes are delicate. There we go. That's working. A little heavier here. There. Ardex Will waves hi. Hello. Peanut Gun sends a thumbs up. Thumbs up to you. Let's see. Let's start over here. I do love fur, though. Fur is very fun to draw. Didn't used to be. But then I had a project with a very furry alien in it for a long time. And I learned to love fur. And that's sort of still my go-to lesson for adapting to new challenges. That if you play it just right, you might actually learn to love it. All right, there's a little more value back there. Sort of the jowls here. It's an important facial feature on anthropomorphic characters here, is that part of the jaw. Oh, this brush is tired. I've been inking all day. There we go. It's more like it. All right, since we're here, let's get this fabric. That sort of tucks into the armor there. Gotta get the fur that goes over the edge here first, though, before proceeding. There we go. So it comes all the way over. A little more fur here. I'm just gonna add that in. And some of the fur, of course, tucks in. So McCoy asked, Blade Runner, you mentioned a commission too, or for a project? So I may as well include you guys in this process at this stage. It's pretty much done. So here's the Blade Runner piece I was working on today. It's pretty much done. I think I finished all of it. I would give you a full picture, and you'll get one soon on Instagram, but I don't want to... If I move the phone setup, it takes a while to find it again. I got to clean up the lettering just a little bit, but otherwise, I think it's pretty much done. And this is going to be this month's Instagram auction piece. That'll be the third time I've done an Instagram auction, and so far it's been going well, so I'm just going to continue with that until it doesn't go well anymore, pretty much. It's been an interesting experience. And it'll be cool to see if that one sells, because that one is very, it's very high detail. And basically I'm going to have to ask more as a starting bid for that one than I have on any of the previous ones. And I didn't mean for it to go that way. The design just sort of got away from me. And if it doesn't sell on Instagram, then it doesn't sell on Instagram. That's fine. I can live with that, and then lesson learned. Keep them simple in the future. But either way, I have a cool piece that I can then sell in some other way and reproduce as a cool print. So either way, it'll be fine. Fabric shadows. I always enjoy those. T Firestone says that is awesome. McCoy says stunning. Thank you. I was very excited with how it went. I have wanted to do a Death of Roy Batty piece for a long time, and I was never sure how to do it justice. But I figured, you don't get anywhere beating around the bush. You just got to buckle down and do it. And I actually think, end result, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's such a wonderful scene, and it's so it's so beautifully composed, but it's also shot really, really tight. It just goes between Rutger Hauer and Harrison Ford's faces, pretty much, as he's giving the Tears in the Rain speech. And you don't really get a sense of location in that particular moment. You got it previously. He sort of set up the location a little bit. But the only thing I wish was included in that scene was more of a pulled-out shot. Maybe after he died. They kind of give you that with the dove flying away, but still. So in that sense, it's almost like, I guess, a fanfic piece for me. A personal edit. Peanut Gun says, an amazing details you have there. Thank you. I don't know if you mean this piece or the one I just showed, but either way, I will take a compliment. Thank you. Let's see. I gotta get this chin render, and it's gonna be tricky. There we go. That'll be fun. All right, let's get some of these fabric shadows. Fabric shadows are always cool. Claire, were you good with the personal or with the reference photos I sent you for the Jubilee piece? Full disclosure on that, I have not looked at those yet. Your piece is actually next on my list, so I'll be able to get started on that pretty soon. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I got the go-ahead on my next Goosebumps cover earlier today, so I'm going to have to do that next. But I believe your piece can be immediately after that. And I will take a look at those reference photos in your most recent email. But, you know, if not, we will continue talking about it. I'm honestly more concerned about compiling reference for all the Iron Man stuff. Sorry, everyone else is waiting as I proceed to immediately talk business in front of everyone. No, it's cool. If there's any problem with them, we'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that. I just feel bad about the timing. It's always something. McCoy says, not a problem. Thank you. I love the expression, how often do you replace your brushes, and do you have a favorite? From context, I think that means, do I have a favorite brush? Right now, it's Kolinsky brushes, Winsor Newton Kolinsky Sables. I am still having, if you've been following my Instagram, I had been having some trouble with the brushes because they used to last me much longer. And considering how expensive these are, I'm embarrassed to say nowadays they only last me about 8 pages, and they used to last around 10. Which even 10 is kind of a short life, I feel like, in the experience of most artists that use these brushes. So I have always felt bad about that. And I've begun exploring some of the synthetic options, but in the meantime, I'll stick with these because these are still the best thing I've ever had for inking. Yeah, that's a sensitive spot for me, unfortunately. But, you know, we all go through things. And it's, you know, it's an organic product, so it goes through variety as well. And if you use it as closely and precisely as I do, you notice every little thing about it. So even if there's a slight variation in it, it's like, oh no, something's super different. So there's sort of up and down sides to being very familiar with a tool. But if you ever have questions about the tools or supplies I use, you can always go to my Instagram profile page, and in my highlight reels, there is one called, what is it called? I think it's called My Tools or My Supplies or something. It'll be self-explanatory, but I list all my frequently used tools, supplies, paper, that kind of stuff in there. So that should hopefully answer any of those questions. And I list a number of books I recommend as well. Oh, Wheeler. Hi, Meath. Can't stay long. Getting a frame for the gas mask poster I bought from you. Well, look at that. Sweet serendipity. I'm glad you think it deserves a frame. I hang my own art, but I don't frame it. I'm expecting a frame in the mail, too. I bought one of those, like, you know, those cheap poster frames for this gorgeous headshot of Vincent Price. My sister bought me for Christmas, which I specifically had on my wish list because I am a weirdo who loves Vincent Price. I guess that doesn't make you a weirdo. He was a huge star. That doesn't make me special. Okay. Kenny Ken Bear says, what would you recommend trying to get your comic published or putting it on the internet for free to see if you like it? What would I recommend? I mean, you can put anything on the internet. That's very easy. You have a couple of options in terms of publication. You can either submit it to, I mean, if it's, well, here's the question. Is it already done or is it still in script stage? Because if it's already done, there's plenty of companies you could, plenty of comic publishers you could submit it to at that stage that are happy to take work that is already done. In terms of pitching to a publisher for just a script, I would suggest hiring an artist if you don't have one already. I mean, again, I don't know your situation at all. I'm just sort of spouting off some general knowledge. I would suggest hiring an artist just to do character designs and give some concept work. But every publisher is different. And there's nothing to stop you from putting it online. I don't really know much about webcomics per se, so I can't really recommend a platform, but I know there are plenty of them. They are plentiful and well visited, so you could certainly do that. Or if you think you have the following, you could do a Kickstarter and self-publish, which is something I've done one time entirely by myself and participated in other people's Kickstarters a number of times now. And that's a totally viable option as well. I don't know if that helps answer your question. Things like that are so reliant on context, you know. All right, let me get this tiny little face. Sorry, I keep hitting the phone. Check the back. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think that works. There's that. Get some shadow from here. Shadow to show the roundness of the kind of the breastplate here. Pretty much an above shadow. Oh, well, thank you all of you who participated in my Name My Venus Flytrap campaign. He is now Edmund, but you all had very good suggestions. I appreciate that. Kenny Ken Bear says, do you like using dip pens? Very occasionally for very specific things. Yes, I have. Is it even here? Yeah, I have some of the little ones that I use very, very occasionally, but Not often. They don't have the line variation of a brush. There's that. A little bit there. I've seen some people do really amazing work with nib pens. I've always kind of wondered how they do it, because I could never really get one to work for me. Draw E97 says hello. Hello. This shoulder plate here. I want to put an edge on that. No, because there isn't one over there. All right, we'll do that. But I do want to put the bolt there. And I need to put the fur of the shoulder coming around there. There's some bolts on the front of the breastplate here. Oh, dropped connection there for a second. You guys still there? Y'all still alive and watching? All right, I want to detail these. I'm thinking these are like just little leather pieces, so they have a certain width to them. There's that. I want to render them down since there's shadow. Cthulhu Chaser 8 says hello, or waves hello. Anthony Harry, yay! I love seeing you around, Anthony. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Anthony, I want to show you. I showed everyone else a little bit earlier, but here's the Blade Runner piece I'm just wrapping up for this month's auction. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to take the tape off for you guys. I say it like it's so exciting. All right, I'm gonna take this edge off here. It is pretty satisfying to watch, though. Come on. Don't get anywhere near it. You gotta put it on like you mean it. There we go. McCoy says, when you'll be putting that up for auction? I believe tomorrow. I'm a little behind schedule on my own preferred auction schedule. By my calendar, I should have been posting this one this morning, but this morning it wasn't inked. I got a little ahead of myself with how detailed this one actually was and didn't get to it in time. So I should be posting this tomorrow, and I usually post them for 4 days. Come on, you. There we go. But like I mentioned earlier, this one is going to start with a more expensive bid just because this is a work-intensive piece. I will admit that. So we'll see how that goes, if at all. And if not, well, I still have it. Win-win. unfold that. Yeah, the taping of the edge is really only something I do if the quote-unquote final product is more about the original. In cases like covers that I can resell for a lot, or like these auction pieces or things that are meant primarily for original sales. So yeah, then you get this nice clean edge. I mean, you can still see the blue line obviously, but that'll all be dropped out. But not if you buy it. If you buy it, you get to see the blue line and everything. Isn't that beautiful? His beautiful robot soul. All right, back to work. How long does it take you to ink a piece? I mean, that depends entirely on, how intense it is, of course. That piece I just showed you pretty much took all day. But it's a very detail-heavy piece. Most pieces aren't like that. That was about as much work as an entire comic book page. Even like a busy comic book page. Like an average to minimal comic page would not even take that long. So that was a pretty intense piece. But you can get away with that with fancy pieces like that. It is justifiable in some circumstances. This piece, on the other hand, will not take very long comparatively. Doing it live always changes the time quite a bit. Just because I work so much more slowly live. It's a slightly awkward position and I stop to answer questions and stuff, all that. So many hearts. Thank you, guys. Javon's animation says looking good and nice. Thank you very much. I also ink in a very disorganized way when live. Those of you veterans of this show will know that by now. Like I started this chain and I haven't finished it. I started this rendering and I haven't finished it. Like I just get so distracted. And normally I work in a very organized way, but I think it's the self-consciousness of wanting to be doing something that's interesting for you guys to watch, as opposed to just sort of the boring stuff. To figure out if I want harder drop shadows under these as well. They're kind of looking like teeth, those little tiles, but I guess for this character that's not inappropriate at all. See, I just wanted to start this. It's like, nope, stay on task. I'm going to finish the chain. Well, actually, let me do little drop shadows here. There we go. A lot of depth there. Let's see. And a little bit at the very edge too, just directly under the lip of the breastplate there. That would create a bit of close shadow. The distance the shadow is from the object it's being cast on tells you how close it is. Like a very close shadow. The closer the shadow is, the closer the object is. Like if I'm way out here, it gets very large and soft, and if it's way down here, it gets very crisp and close. So there's some basic shadow rules. I always forget to recommend when people ask about shadow, or not even shadow, about foreshortening, figure foreshortening, to recommend just like go out on a sunny day and look at your own shadow and think about the forms. That'll help you think about foreshortening. Javon says, is it ink or paint you're using? This is ink. I can show you my little ink cup right here. This is a Delator 3 ink that I've been enjoying. And as I was saying earlier to someone else, if you ever have questions about the tools I use, you can look in my highlight reel on my Instagram profile, and I have a whole saved story stream of tools and supplies. Okay, so there's that little chain. This needs to be a bit heavier. Okay, that's nice. JK Falconer says hello. Okay, those are properly shadowed. I think next, what am I doing next? Oh, I want to do the detail. You probably can't even see, but there's tiny little scratch marks and dents on the armor here, which is important if you want to make it look anything other than brand spanking new and unused. Little dent marks. Little cross-hatched, beat-up marks. Useful for bruised faces and scuffed-up surfaces. There we go. In fact, I think for detail's sake, I'm going to double this line. Just a tad. It makes a very slight difference, but I like it. Okay. Where did the blue outlines come from? Okay, so this is a process called blue line that I like to use for inking. And basically what it does is it eliminates the need for you to draw right on top of your pencils. Like for example, here are the pencils of this piece. So you can see this is the first stage, this is the final stage. And what I do is when I finish the pencils, I scan them into Photoshop or really any, art software, and I convert the pencil line to blue. It's like 2 steps, it's very quick. And then I print it out on an inking board and ink right over it. And then when I finish it, when I scan it in to get the digital version of it, which is the final version of anything, really, it's also very simple to take one digital step to remove all of the blue. So basically it just provides an outline and you throw it away afterwards. Come on, dude. Brush keeps getting watery. All right, here we go. This should work. But yeah, it's derived from the much earlier process when things like this would be done very reliant on Xerox machines. And basically, like in early architecture drafting and things like this, they designed the non-photo blue pencil, which when you see people drawing with those blue or pink pencils, that's what that is. That's still a product that's in use, because it's useful for just, keeping your construction lines and your actual lines separate. I do use it sometimes for perspective grids, but I'm getting off topic now. Basically, what it would be is they discovered it is a specific color that the Xerox machines didn't pick up. So you could do all these construction lines like I'm using them for now, and then when they Xerox their work to get the final version of it, none of the blue would be there. So it's basically just a contemporary version of that. I hope that wasn't confusing, but I always find that interesting, that we still sort of use that same principle just with advanced contemporary machines and software, but it still just works that way. Can you use a normal household printer to put it on the board? I mean, you can. It depends what you define as a normal household printer. It has to be an inkjet printer. It can't be a laser printer. Because what happens with a laser printer is it lays the ink essentially on top of the paper. It sits on top, like it has a texture. You can feel the printing on a laser printer. If you like in an office context, if you print out a whole stack of paper and you run your fingers over it, you can feel the type, almost like Braille. And obviously that would be the least ideal circumstance to ink on top of. An inkjet printer is a juicier printer, basically, and the ink soaks into the page. Like I can't feel this right now at all, as I shouldn't. And that's why you definitely need to go with an inkjet printer if you're using it for art purposes, basically. But yes, I also list my printer in my tools highlight reel. It's probably outdated now. That's probably the first one I had, but I just keep getting the current version of the same model. They last a couple of years. But I've had no complaints about let me look over it. My Epson. It's got a nice big print bed, so I can do 11 by 17s, which is a common comics thing, or size. Sorry, I'm phasing out. Let's see, I missed a question. Wow, very cool, thank you. Oh, I missed the thank you and jumped right to your next question. I'm so sorry about that, Alex. McCoy says, did your client get both pieces? Normally, I only give the client the inks. If you, sir, wanted to discuss a different arrangement, I'd certainly be open to that. Just generally speaking, that's what they want. Like that's what they envisioned, and that's what I give them. I do sometimes also sell the pencils, but honestly, not often. I keep the pencils around and put them in my original pages bin for conventions. Not that we've had any of those for a while, unfortunately. Oh, come on. The brush really does get noticeably tired at the end of a day. Keep perking it up here. All right, how am I going to do that? This sort of softens in. There we go. It's a nice cast shadow. This one over here. I'm going to need to do that again down here. Sort of the cummerbund part. Man, I'm so distractible on this. I didn't even finish the face. What's wrong with me? Ugh. You guys should feel flattered. You get the most frazzled me. Of course, it's already the end of the day when I do these streams too, in my defense. I do love anthropomorphic animal hands. I honestly think the fur is very forgiving. You don't have to be as accurate with the hands if there's fur involved. Plus, they just look good, I think. I always smear my drawings when I'm inking. What are you inking with then? Do you ink with a nib? You don't really, I mean, brush doesn't really smear unless you're putting down like big gobs of it. Nib will definitely smear though if you're working extensively in nib or dip pen. Kenny Ken Bear says, I work with a dip pen. Yeah. That's the one thing about dip pens. They be smeary. Because they're just, like, I mean, you know this, you work with it. They're just laying down, like, a rope of ink just sitting on the paper. So you gotta let that dry. Because, I mean, like, with the brush, it's pretty much dry instantly. I will say that is one of the perks of it. And I will also say I wish I had ever been able to do good work with a nib. That was not the path my destiny took me on. Okay, there's the hands. I'm going to want to render the underside of the fingers just a little bit as they bend away from the light. Nice. All right, I'm going to have to head out soon, folks, if I want this video. All right, paused for a second there. Let's see. Let me just finish this hand. Gotta keep my eye on the time there. Go. Amin Jafari says hello. Hello to you too. You're catching just the end right now. I'm going to be wrapping it up soon, unfortunately. But if Instagram and its towering wisdom accepts, I will post this on IGTV immediately after. I mean, honestly, I shouldn't complain. It's probably my connection that's to blame. So I lost a few videos and I feel resentful of that, but you win some, you lose some, you live and learn. The slightly longer hair there. That's nice. Let's get some of this shape here. These shadows here, shadows of this plate mail, and then there would be technically some slight corner rounding shadows there, and some here, and some render there. Oh, that's very light. Hopefully I don't lose that in treatment. Oh, I still have to do that. One thing after another. I have to print out the blue line, or the pink line rather, for the pencils for my next Ghost Bumps. Ghost Bumps? Did I say Ghost Bumps? I'm losing my mind. My next Goosebumps cover. Sent in 3 thumbnails for the 4th cover, I believe. And I got approval on one of them earlier today. So that's ready to go. Symmetry, especially in the face, can be very difficult. You can't really see it here, but maybe you can see it in the pencils. But you can see there's a lot of lines where I'm just lining everything up. There's also a lot of measuring that goes on, like in the center of the face here, to make sure this ear starts equidistant from the center as the other ear. Just things like that. A lot of little details. More than half the drawing is the pre-pro, honestly. The detail is quick. JoseCo777 says, "You're super talented. I love all of your work." Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. I was working on this piece while I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts the other day, which was the H.P. Lovecraft literary podcast, aka H.P. Podcraft, which is a joke that never fails to make me chuckle. And they were doing a Conan story. They were doing Queen of the Black Coast, and they mentioned hyenas because Robert E. Howard can't not mention any kind of dangerous carnivore in his work. And I commented on it, like I was working on a D&D commission of a gnoll while I was listening to this, so thank you for the spontaneous hyena talk. And I got a comment on a post I made of a process shot of this that just said, something like, "Nice work, I came here from HP Podcraft." I had a good laugh about that. Someone found that comment on the podcast and found me on Instagram. Internet is an amazing place, full of weirdos and cool stuff, and weird stuff and coolos, which is not a real word that I just made up. Hold still. What's the theme / subject for the new Goosebumps cover? They are all the same because the series is a werewolf series, so it will be aspects of that particular issue, which involves werewolves. I'm pretty sure I can post them, but I don't want to, you know, get on anyone's bad side. Once the colors are posted, then I will share them like I did with the first one. Did I make it back in time to see some spatter? No spatter happening on this one, I don't think. Although now that you mention it, I might. But that'll be later. I'm about to wrap this one up. Yeah. All right, folks. I am going to call it a night. Thank you so much for stopping in and for all your kind, supportive words. I will try to get this live stream up on Instagram TV or at the very least on YouTube and link it in my story. So everybody have a great night, and I will see you next time.